We give you all the tea on episode 3 of David Makes Man tonight with screenwriter Lucien Christian Adderly. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Happy Hump Day, everybody. Welcome to your favorite after show, the David Makes Man Aftershow. I am your host, Sahai Wilson, and tonight we have so much. We have a special guest. We've got predictions, we've got news and gossip, and so much more. But first, let me introduce you to my lovely panel tonight. We have Josh over here.
What's up?
Hey, Josh.
What's up?
He's our resident parent and PK, Preacher's Kid, giving us the male perspective. Josh will be in our live chat. He's also doing our special segment when we come back next time, but we have a special guest tonight, so we will not be doing that because we have so much more in store for you. Next up, we have Zakia.
Hello.
Hi, Zakia.
Hi.
Zakia is a content creator. She's a publicist. She's a brand manager, and she's going to be giving us her perspective on life in the PJs.
Yes.
Thank you, Zakia. She also is going to hit us with some amazing news and gossip tonight, so we're very excited.
Yes, guys. Yes.
And I am your host, Sahai Wilson. I was born in Miami. I grew up on the East Coast. I was raised by a single mom, just like David. And I've worked as a producer for over 10 years. So I will be giving you some behind-the-scenes perspective from the production side of things.
Right.
Okay? But last but not least, we have a special guest.
Yes.
By way of Carroll City, Florida. He's an actor. He's a writer. He's a screenwriter and a spoken word poet. Mr. Lucien Christian Adderly.
Yo, what's up, man?
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for being here with us. You are our first guest. We are excited.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Thank you guys for having me.
We are excited about. There's so much to talk about, and as you guys have seen on episodes 1 through 3, you know, the writing is amazing on the show, and there's so much detail to go into, so we want to get to all of it. But first, let me get everyone's overall thoughts. First, I'll start with you,
You want to start with me?
I'll start with you first.
Okay, because I was going to let Zakia rip into it. You know,
We'll go over it. We'll go down the line.
Well, my thoughts were, the story was really good. I liked how it wasn't fragmented.
Yeah.
They made sure that it was put together. We learned more about Day. Now we're understanding his dynamic with his father and how his mother are now growing together. And so, you know, we'll get more into it, but I'm excited.
Yeah, and I'm going to need you to choose a name. What do you call him? David, like, we going to have
he D. You know
Okay, we're going to call him all the things. Guys, just stick with us. We're going to call him all the things. What were your overall thoughts?
I mean, honestly, so I love that we got to peek into David's multiple personalities that he has. So that in itself was like the story for me.
Yeah.
So I was taken back and I'm trying to understand, which I'm going to ask you a few questions, a lot of questions. But overall, that was the highlight for the episode.
Yeah.
And you know what's a highlight for me? The highlighter on Zakia's cheeks. It's beautiful. She is glowing here tonight.
Well, hey, Riri.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, look. Shout out to Little Fenty Beauty. Lucien, what were your overall thoughts on this amazing episode that you wrote?
Oh, man. I love this episode, and I was so excited for everyone to see it because the David Day DJ dynamic.
Yeah.
And so now that you guys got a chance to actually see that on screen, I'm really excited to see what everybody thought about it.
It's really cool, bro.
Okay.
David Day
Okay, see, I didn't know each of the personalities had a name, and I like that, and we will get into that. I want to talk about that.
Some stuff.
Okay. For me, we got so much, and having lived in Miami for a while, my mom and dad met there. I was born at Jackson Memorial Hospital in Miami, Florida, and my mom, like I said, is a single parent. So to see how David came to be and where he is now and how it affected his mother, that was a beautiful storyline. But the name of this episode is MJB.
Right.
And I want to talk about that. I automatically assumed it was Mary J. Blige because of the song Your Child that they reference later. But it was beautiful overall. So let's get into our first topic, David's therapy.
All right.
So we start off with David in therapy. And he's with Dr. Bree, played by the amazing Ruben Santiago Hudson.
Yes.
And his legs shaking, he's nervous.
Yeah.
But we see these 3 different personalities pop up. So, Lucien, tell us you said you named each of these characters?
So you have David, of course, which
right.
is himself. Then you also have Day, who is David's character within the Ville. That's the mask he has to put on when he's at the Ville.
Okay.
And then you also have DJ, which is his classroom and his school persona.
Okay.
I got that.
See, we are getting these revelations tonight. Okay, thank you.
But one of the funny things about it is, I don't know if you guys caught it, but the beginning of the episode was when he was actually sitting there and his eyes were flickering.
Yes.
And he was having those flashbacks to different moments.
Okay.
That's why
flashback.
Okay, you wrote that.
You see it.
Okay, so that's why we saw him. We saw a flashback to Sky.
We saw a couple of different flashbacks. We saw 3 flashbacks, and then we also saw that's when Dr. Bree came and woke him up.
Right.
And David was falling asleep a lot. He fell asleep in class, and he fell asleep in the
Don't get ahead of
counseling
me.
session. You know, look, we got a lot to cover, so we'll stick together on all of this. Why did you find it important to show therapy overall in general, and then a child in therapy, and then a boy in therapy?
So overall, this show has a lot to do with trauma and healing. So with that being such a taboo subject within the Black community for so long,
That's true.
we are now at the point where it is important to see these things on screen. So a lot of times in the writing room, we would literally sit there and learn about things and how they would affect us. We would understand that trauma affects Black people in general so much differently than other people, and we also learned a lot about inherent trauma and how you will literally get something passed down from your parents and not even realize it.
That's true.
So there are so many different elements that were so important for us to bring to life within this character. And this was an episode where David is having his first counseling session. But to a lot of us, we don't know what that is going to be like.
Right.
Yeah.
And so as you see, he finds a way to try to get through it, which is him tapping into these multiple different personalities and putting up a defense mechanism and not even giving over to it.
Right. You see how eloquent Lucien is. That's because he's a
Yes.
learned man. He has a BFA in acting
Yes.
and theater studio studies from Florida State. He has an MFA in creative writing from Full Sail.
Yes.
He is an award-winning writer.
That's right.
Okay. Zakiya, how did you how did you feel seeing David in therapy? Like that shot and that scene?
Okay, so I took those 3 individuals, which I pictured them as 3 different individuals, and I
Right.
saw that his childlike character or his jokester character, he had his hat to the back, and you know he was the one who was always spitting joke. That was a mechanism he used in school to like overcome a lot of the things that he deals with in school. It's
Okay.
kind of like, and he in a sense is able to let his hair down, I guess. Like he's able to relax more in school. And then we had his other character who was on the guard and on the fence. He planned before he spoke. And then you had David himself, who was torn between the two.
Yeah.
And as he sat there, it seemed like he was innocent and childlike for me. I saw that he wanted to be more a boy, but he had these different personalities that he always had to toggle between.
Yeah.
So that, it was so powerful, the message, because it's just like he's taking on too much and he doesn't want to, but he has to.
Right.
Yeah. Josh, what about you?
Okay, so I wrote down a couple of things. I'm going to use brevity here. So I did a little research and I found that your subconscious speaks to you in about 4 different ways. Anxious and anxiety and phobias, dreams, idle thoughts, and manifestations with the body. For me, this was his way of expressing his anxieties and his phobias.
Yeah.
And so I know that I was a student where I functioned better in my creative classes. I couldn't stand the traditional learning. So I would use my anxieties and my phobias as throw-offs to put the teacher at a place where they would leave me alone. And I think that's what he was doing here. And that's when I decided that he could possibly be a high-functioning depressant. Yeah.
You guys did mention while we were watching, because we all watched the episode together, we saw the therapist pull out the prescription pad.
Right.
Yes.
And then, we see David's leg
took to it.
shaking.
Yeah.
He was nervous about that, and his leg was shaking the whole time. He never relaxed, whereas some people go to therapy and it is a place for them to relax.
Right.
But I just thought it was beautiful to actually see this young man having a counseling session, and I appreciate you guys doing that, because for those who've never done it, now they kind of have an insight view of what it's like, and it's not necessarily something to fear. It actually can be something very helpful for you.
Yeah.
So, okay, all right. Now, what is also helpful is our AfterBuzz shows. Zakiya, let us know why.
Well, hello, guys. You absolutely know, time and time again, we love doing what we do. In order to help us grow, please go to our channel, like and subscribe, give us many thumbs ups, and 5 stars on iTunes. Just keep showing love like you always do, and we'll keep bringing you more. Again, we love what we do, and we love that you love what we do, and keep watching David Makes Man.
Yes, and shout out to everybody that's been commenting. We had A. Mel's who said this show is slept on. We had David Jeter. We had Everyday People 629 who said, I like this series thus far. They also said great review and great panel.
Oh,
yes,
right now.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
We like those compliments.
Yes, so we appreciate all of you who have watched and commented as well. So one of the things... Thank you. One of the things I also wanted to talk about, and you guys, because I'm going to kind of group things together. I'm not going to go through the full episode, but we hear about Sky in this therapy session and all the things that he taught David in this episode. And I wanted to kind of go through those because I just found it interesting because he said outside of JG, Sky was the only person that cared for him. He said the only person that listened to him and encouraged him to stay happy and to look to a better day, study hard, learn poetry. Speaking of poetry, Lucien, you have a poetry background.
Yes.
And that's how you kind of got started in the business, correct?
Yes.
Tell us about
That's how I started with writing. So I actually started off writing poetry in the form of a spoken word. And it's funny because working with Terrell has taught me how I can infuse that poetry within the screenwriting realm. So that has been great. It's been a process. And we always say that, like, one thing about Terrell as a creator and as a writer is he wants things to live as beautifully on the page as they do off the page.
Okay.
So when you're looking at the script, it looks like poetry. It looks like something just as beautiful as what you're seeing.
So it doesn't follow traditional, like, the formatting?
It has the formatting, but the way that you will have a description line will be completely different than the way you'll see a standard action line.
Nice.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And what I like about your work in my research, because, I researched, you have done so much. You're not only a screenwriter, but you're also an actor. You got credit as an acting coach on this?
Yes.
Was it for this episode?
For the entire season.
Look at that. See, let me tell you what that means. More coins.
Yes.
Okay, that's what it means. Okay, that's how it translates. Just saying. Get all the
I
checks.
did see a Bentley Bentayga outside. I'm just saying. Saying.
Speaking of that come up, how has your life changed? This is your first official television show. You've been in the business about 10 years, would you
I've been
say?
writing about 10 years, yeah.
So doing so many different things. How does it feel? How has your life changed since, like, finally getting this big break?
Man, it's still changing. It's honestly still changing. This is a whole nother, like, era of it because the show just officially released.
Right.
And it was like, at first, hey, I'm working on this thing, but nobody really knows about this thing.
That's true.
But I know that what I'm working on is special. I know the people I'm working with are special. And then it became, okay, I'm leaving the writer's room and I'm going on set and I'm being blessed to be the acting coach and work with this amazing cast.
That's
They're
dope.
really good.
Talent. Like, I'm like, yo, am I really sitting here, like, talking to Miss Felicia Bashard? Like, is that really happening? Am I really soaking up this knowledge and this energy and everything else like that? Am I really, like, sitting here with Akili and I'm like, you don't realize how talented you are.
Yeah.
Man, like, yo,
He's awesome.
Yes, he's amazing. And down the line, all of the kids on the show are amazing. Nate is amazing. Teshi is amazing.
Like
Lindsay,
Marissa.
amazing.
Yes.
We
Lindsay.
love Marissa this
Lizzie.
episode.
Yeah, so there's so many beautiful people, so many, like, people that are passionate about this project as well, because it wasn't just a paycheck. It wasn't just, I'm just doing something.
We can tell.
Yes.
And it comes through. It comes through in the art.
Yeah.
So,
I think also what you the fact that you got to write the episode and then be on set. A lot of times people write episodes and they don't get to be involved in the actual production of it. They just write it and then they're done. You know what I'm saying? They don't get to come to set solely to watch, but they don't have input. That's left for the director and everyone else. So and the executive producers, which we know Miss Oprah Winfrey, Michael B. Jordan, amongst others.
Yeah.
So just wrapping up some of the things that David mentioned about Sky. He said Sky also was the one who wanted him. That's how he found out about Hurston, which I found interesting. And he wanted David to achieve more than he himself did. So the fact that David is experiencing this loss, I think we're continuously seeing how Sky's how David's dealing with the loss of Sky.
Can I interject something
Sure,
here? Okay.
please give us your thoughts.
So I'm looking at the correlation between David's grief because Sky is gone.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at the correlation of Seren's grief because he doesn't know his father. He knew he was from Overtown. So I'm wondering if there is some similarities in their backgrounds with their fathers.
Yes.
Because Overtown is where JG's father is from.
Yep.
So does Seren's father and Day's father and JG's father, do they know each other?
That's a question.
You see, but that's the first thing that hit me.
Oh, okay. I had something like a little different, but
Okay.
I do want to hit like several points. So the one about your poetry, you can see the poetry within this episode, especially when she came on stage and she slapped her hands down and she did the whole
was
great
like,
seat.
yeah.
Yes.
I love her monologues,
Yes.
man. She's something.
Yes, and even with David presenting his project as well, like, so I love that key aspect. So your poet, I guess,
Poetry background.
Yes, poetry background. It comes out into this episode. And then another thing between
The fathers.
David
Okay.
and Seren, I like the view when they were both kind of lying in the
in the
different
beds?
beds.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hold off on that because we're
Okay.
going to go into the sleepover.
Okay. Me, I'm like,
Yeah.
She ready.
Let's get into
I'm ready.
the sleepover at Seren's house because Miss Dr. Woods Trap
Right.
forces David to turn in his project. Now, she did that early. Did he initially have more time or did she make it do the next day on? Was that a new revelation for him?
Well, he was supposed to be having to do the next day, but in terms of her throwing Seren into the wrench, that was
okay.
Okay.
And remember, they're coming off having this fight, and instead of like having this in-depth conversation to make up, they just kind of dap it up, I guess.
Yeah, so we boys.
To show you how men do different things in a different way. So Seren's like, yo, I'll help you, but you got to come to my house. And I found it interesting when David was like, you sure about that? Like he didn't spare his friend's feelings. He was
That's
like,
right.
I'm worried about myself.
Yeah.
Being
that's
around
true.
because we see Seren having been beat up, and we know that he's being molested as well by his stepfather.
Well, another point to that,
Yeah.
you also know where David comes from. And I had friends who grew up, I'm from Decatur, Georgia.
Okay.
I had friends who grew up in that side where if anyone touched anybody who was their homie, it was a wrap. They didn't care what kind of job you had. They would be at your house. And I don't think those are the types of problems that Ray wants with David's friends from the Ville.
Well, I know my mother I have a younger brother whose birthday is today. Anytime people would be like, oh, can he sleep over? As a single parent, it's like, because things. There's the fear of molestation is always at the back of your mind as a parent, whether with your boy children or your girl children. So is that why Miss Elijah was like sleepover? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
We knew
Exactly.
it. As soon as you said it, we knew it.
Exactly, and that's one of those things that like in the black community, like spending the night.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, hold on,
I
like,
was, 13?
and usually like it's only with maybe your cousins,
Right,
Maybe,
exactly.
and that's a maybe,
Yeah.
type situation. So yeah, that's why it's a bigger deal.
It is, yeah.
for David than what Seren would realize. that
Right.
it is.
And even so, like, usually your parents are like, tell them to come over here.
Right.
You tell them to come here.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not going over there.
Right.
Well, my parents would have the parents call.
Yeah, there had to
they'll
be a
say, well,
conversation.
I don't know your mama, so no.
But
Yeah.
what we see, speaking of mamas, because this sleepover, and in this house, we get to go to Seren's house. We see Seren's mama. Ray wasn't supposed to be there, but then he show up. There was so much going on at this house. It was a lot to take in. But Zakiya, like you said, there was that beautiful shot of the boys in bed, laying side by side, and in that blue lighting, which reminded me of moonlight. But isn't there medicinal purposes to having blue light as well? I remember there's in
it's
Grey's
trust,
Anatomy,
too.
they have different rooms with different colors, and the blue, like there's a purpose for having a room filled with blue. So I think in watching it kind of has a healing effect on the viewers as
does.
well. So let's talk about, Seren is home. And he's like a little robot at his house, okay? And the mama come. Seren is nervous. Most people, you excited, like, oh, my mama home.
Yes.
This little boy is scared. What y'all think about Seren's mama?
Go ahead, Zakiya.
She's a mess.
First of all, what's Seren's mama's name?
Mrs. Kelly.
Yeah, Miss Kelly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just think that maybe she's taking some type of anger out on Seren. Like, because they talked about he didn't know his dad really. He was from Overtown. Right. I always say Overtown. So it feels like she's angry at Seren's dad. Is she? And she's like taking it out on him?
No, it's not that she's angry at Seren's dad. It's that she's afraid for having a black son.
Oh.
How she goes about it is not the right way to do it.
No.
But she's afraid. She's trying to force the black out of him in a way.
Wow.
To make him more presentable, to make sure that when he's in certain situations,
He's assertive.
he is less likely to end up in the position of another black son.
Oh, so
Okay.
like here it is, David is helping Seren learn slang to kind of make him more black, and then the mom is like, I don't want that for you.
I don't want that
I
for
want
you.
you less black.
She wasn't
Literally
proper.
beating it out of him.
Got it.
Unfortunately.
But that's like preparing him for police brutality, mama. Like what you doing? That ain't right. That ain't the way to go.
It would have the adverse effect
Why?
based off this research, because what they're doing is like, I was taught that I'm better than everybody.
Okay.
That's what my dad and mom told me. They said, you're better than anybody walking, and anybody who died, you're better than them too.
Right.
So I carried myself like that, but it caused me to accomplish things. So I believed in it.
Okay.
What she's doing is she's beating him down and wearing him down by submission. So he's not as proud. He's more coward-like.
Right.
And so if he ran into a police officer, he's more likely to, submit as opposed to assert.
I just visually,
That's
like,
how I envision it.
a mother beating her child just reminded me of what we see all the time of police officers beating young men. You know what I'm saying? And most parents are trying to educate their children, like, this is how you avoid their situations. And here it is, she's like literally pushing him into a similar situation. So how does a child,
Just
handle
let him
that?
be. Like, what you do is you train him. This is my opinion, the parent perspective.
Right.
You train your child manners, respect, and you let them know, my dad would say, don't take a beating from anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. If you're at school, my mom would say, turn around, walk away. My dad said, don't take a beating from anyone. But at the same time, they taught us how to diffuse situations with our words. So we didn't get into a lot of scuffles because we were assertive, but we weren't arrogant. And what she's doing is, in my opinion, she's not allowing him to just be a man. His stepdad is beating things out of him and then molesting him. That makes him weak.
Yeah,
and
we have a
vulnerable.
lot of revelations at this house. We find out that JG's dad is from Overtown. We find out that David doesn't know his dad. We find out that Seren's dad is also from Overtown, but he doesn't see him often. So it seemed like everybody's daddy has daddy issues or doesn't know them, or the daddy is dead. That's the running theme for dads in this situation. We also learned that on a lighter note, that Seren kind of has a crush on young Marissa.
Yeah.
So cute.
Marissa, who their classmate who ends up helping them with the presentation. You mentioned that Marissa reminded you of.
She reminds me of and then I find out that Lucien tells us that she's from Atlanta. Yeah, because she reminded me of my homegirls. I had a homegirl in middle school who punched a boy in the forehead.
The forehead. That's
So-
brutal.
Yeah, he was bothering her. And so she just punched him in the forehead like 2 times. And Marissa kind of has that way about her. She's not violent or pugilistic, but she's intelligent.
Yeah.
And
She is.
and I like how assertive she is. She's making the boys responsible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but at this, back to the house, Zakiya, what do you think about this? Just seeing Seren's home, seeing the interaction. We see Ray come back, and suddenly one minute he's lovey-dovey with the mama, who was just like all hardcore with Seren, but then she making out with the husband, and I'm like, okay, and we know the husband was in Atlanta. That was a red flag. Lucien, was that on purpose?
Oh, Lord.
Lucien, was that on purpose?
Y'all don't have people from Atlanta not liking us.
I like you. Okay.
I mean, just saying, was that a on purpose? He could have went to New Jersey.
I mean, yeah.
That's not as much fun.
Atlanta is also right around the corner.
Okay, it's not
Okay.
far. It's not far.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. But what did you think of that dynamic in Seren's house?
I thought it was odd. I've never been to someone's house where their parents were so lovey-dovey to the point where it wasn't like, bye, babe. It was more so like sexual, so it's too sensual. So I thought that took me off guard. And then just Seren being so jumpy, it was sad to see that he was at every command of his mother, and she just always switches the switch, and first she's calm and then she's irate. So it was a different dynamic. I really didn't feel it. The guy, he was a little weird, but
Lucien, what do you have to say?
So no, one of the things that is real interesting is I'm wondering if you guys realize in this moment at the house that the physical abuser is actually his mother.
Yes.
When she walked in, we noticed like
so it's like you said, there is a dynamic there where it is okay. Ray is protecting him from the blunt of what he's receiving from his mom in a way, and then at the same time, like what they were saying when they were laying down is that he doesn't even know if his mom really knows about what's going on with Ray.
But do we think the mama knows?
And that's the thing. I mean, it's kind of up to you to, decide whether or not you believe that she knows or not, and which is, he says it himself. He's like, maybe she just sees what she wants to see.
Right.
I think she knows.
I think she knows too. At the end of episode 2, you're right. I thought it was Ray beating him, but we find out it's the mom.
Right.
And we have heard those situations where mothers turn a blind eye to what's going on in order to keep the man.
Yes.
So that's kind of what I thought was going on here, because she has this weird dynamic with her own child.
Yep. Sorry, Sahai. I'm tripping.
What you got to say?
Well, no, I'm thinking about this, and I'm looking at it like her resentment towards Seren, like instant resentment. It's like when Ray isn't around, she resents him, but then she's nice to him, and then Ray's back and she tries to be polite, like, you don't have to clean up, you're fine. So then I'm like, but Ray is molesting him and she's beating him. So what's happening first? Is he going into and Ray sees bruises first? Or has he been molested first and then the mom comes in?
He doesn't. It's a home technically where he's supposed to be safe, but he's not safe in his own home. And just to think about that dynamic, she was also she wasn't also very nice to David. When like David always looked like he smelled like outside.
Yeah,
so
he does.
She looked like she didn't want him dirty in her house. She moved his shoes. She was like, these, what you call them, bobos, Lucien? These shoes, I don't want them here. So she wasn't even
the elbows.
Yeah. She wasn't very nice to him. So I think she reminded me of a drill sergeant.
Yes.
And she wants structure in her home because other areas maybe in her life
to compensate.
You know what I'm saying? So we have so much to cover. Let's move on to our next topic. Briefly, we see Miss Elijah return, Gloria and JG and Star.
Yep, Star Child.
Star Child. Okay. So I just wanted to reference that because I love Miss Elijah, and we see, Gloria is coming home from work, and JD done made some socks or put some emblems on some socks. He was adorable.
Got some socks to go with his new LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron.
Right. And remember I said how people, always know that what's new, like when I moved in and I was lugging in a new TV, next day my landlady was like, oh, what's going on in here? See, people are always so nosy about what's new. So Miss Elijah noticed that JG had new shoes, and we see Star Child, chilling. But is it Star Child or Star?
Star Child.
Okay, Star Child. Makes me think of Dark Child, the producer. Is Star Child taking testosterone? Is he transitioning?
Yes.
Okay.
See,
you got that right.
Y'all called that last week.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's happening. But he was, it seems to be fitting in. Miss Elijah's home is like a safe space for everyone. But then we hear about this relationship that Miss Gloria had in the past with this man who was bi. And Miss Elijah was like, I told you, girl. And I love seeing that dynamic between them. Why did you guys, why did you decide to kind of incorporate this relationship as a little insight into her past?
Well, and you'll get a lot more of that. I know a lot of people saw the preview for next week's episode, so you'll get a lot more into the mindset of Gloria and Gloria's backstory next episode. But it was a little nugget into her backstory. So if you pay attention to it, you can see that, her and Elijah go way back.
Right.
And that they, that at one point in time, Gloria was involved with the ball culture and everything else like that. But you'll get more of that in the next episode.
Okay, look, he's teasing us.
Okay, I like that. Yes, and little nosy JG was like, what's bi? But then how do you explain that to a child? Right. And does he need to know that at this age? Is it, it made me think about, okay, at what age do you, if they're asking, then do you just answer that question? So that's something that it made me think about. But then we see my friend Rainen get arrested, guys. What? Wait a minute. Why do we think Rainen got arrested? Zaki, what do you think?
Oh, I'm just gonna say that little drive-by police
Oh, the situation.
The situation,
yeah.
right. I have no idea. Like, that's thrown me off. He involved in a lot of things, so we don't know.
How about you?
I think it has something to do with the package that was delivered last week.
Oh, the book bag
and he brought
situation.
for Shinobi.
Yeah,
I think it has something to do with that.
Okay, I like that. Okay, and then that leads us into David's presentation.
Yes, deep.
Which leads us to finding out more about Miss Gloria. So, as we mentioned, Dr. Woodstrap assigned David this presentation about his past. It's what is it?
How did you get here?
How did you get here? Sorry. And it leads us into finding out how he really got here and how his mother was a student at Miami-Dade College, which I know very well. I love that y'all were very specific. You said the downtown campus.
Yes.
I went to that campus.
Yes.
It's right across from Bayside. You take the little tram over there. So I know that school very well. And then she rolls up to the house of her professor holding baby David in her hands. When you saw that happen, what did you guys think?
I thought immediately that the wife knew that that was her husband's child, and I think she didn't want it to believe it, but she knew. And then for him to come home and to say, like, it only happened once, I was taken back.
Yeah.
It only happened one time. And I'm like, wow, so you just do this often, huh?
And
You just do this.
how about you?
Really quickly, I want to point out something to Raiden getting arrested. Racy on the chat says that on Twitter, everyone thought that Miss Elijah turned Raiden in, which was the look that she gave.
Okay.
So anyway, the question was about the presentation.
Yes. And
seeing Gloria going to the house.
Correct.
I immediately, at that moment, it hit me where, not discrediting Gloria, but it hit me where David has gotten his intelligence from. Not saying that Gloria is not smart, understand that.
Okay.
But because his father was already a professor, we don't know of what at this point, based off the situation that they're in. But I said, so that's why, and Sky may have known that, which is possibly why he's pushing him to be more than. But we don't know.
Now Gloria, she was a college student. That's how they met. So she's not a dumb woman.
No,
she
of course not.
And that's something we'll talk about in predictions. Like, what could her life have been had she not gotten in this situation? You know what I'm saying? We know she's a recovering drug addict, but how would her life have gone had she made different decisions and different things had happened? We're kind of running out of time, so let's go into our special segment, News and Gossip.
Yes. All right. So we have a bunch of news, guys. Starting with our lovely writer here. So I just want to point out that you got this opportunity in 2018 to write David Makes Man, or be one of the writers of David Makes Man. And it seems as if your cast is really tight. Like you said, a family. We have a few pictures here. You guys see. Yes,
Tell
there
us who's
he
in
is.
this picture.
That is me. That is Cheryl, who's one of our directors.
Lovely.
She directed The Last Block.
Female director, shout out.
Great director. And Miss Oprah Winfrey
Yes.
when she came to visit us on set.
Lord,
that's awesome.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine?
And we have a few more. And they're at the Lakers game, guys. It's so cute. If you go to his Instagram, you'll see it was Seren who was actually on the Jumbotron. But he was dancing and it was super cute. And then we have more pictures of each of them. And this is all
So what was
of our
this? The whole
characters.
cast went out to a basketball game?
So we went out. We were able to be blessed to sit courtside at the Lakers in Orlando.
That's
Magic
awesome.
It's a
game.
beautiful
So
view from the courtside.
Got a chance, yeah.
Okay, and so now let's get into this. So it's almost Halloween, almost, not quite.
Yeah.
But we know that one of the executive producers for David Makes Man is Michael B. Jordan. And for Halloween, you were his character on Black Panther.
Yeah, Killmonger.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So if you guys seen in this episode, we had Seren say, "Oh, hey, Miss Glow." Is that a correlation between what Killmonger actually said? Hey, Auntie.
No, not directly.
No.
Okay.
I
You know.
thought I picked up on something.
No, but that is actually, that's dope.
Inspired.
And
by-
was this before you worked with Michael, that you dressed up like him? His character?
Well, this was literally while we were on set filming.
Okay.
So I did it. Yeah, I did it to pay homage. So
That's dope.
So
son.
what is it like getting to work with people that you once looked up to, or who once inspired you, and then you are on set. You have a seat at the table. What is it like having a seat at the table?
It honestly is a breath of fresh air to feel like you deserve.
Right.
To feel like you deserve, and to feel like your opinions are valued, to feel like your creativity is worth being, a part of the overall vision for something is just amazing to do that. And then now you get a chance to pick the brains of these people and soak up more information.
That's
so I'm always trying to look at things as a student.
And what I think about is that you've been prepping for this for so long, so you get to you're learning from them, but they're also getting a new perspective from you.
Yes.
Well, that wraps up our news and gossip segment. Thank you so
one
much.
more.
We have one more.
One more. So this is a picture of him. He was actually receiving his award at the Shadow and Axe Rising Awards. He was an honoree, guys. So again, award-winning writer here.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
I also had a theory. So we find out that David's father's name is Darius.
Yeah.
Now, as a poet, did you name him Darius after Darius Love Hall from Love Jones?
Well, actually, Terrell came up with that name.
Okay. Damn, all of theories wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, that also puts us into our predictions. Let's go into that.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
I know, right?
You like that? Try to give you a little drama.
Yeah. A little
Okay,
razzle-dazzle.
so Ziki, I'll start with you. What are your predictions?
Okay, so I predict that we're going to see, I can't say that anything about the mother because we already said something, but we're going to see Marissa more. Her and Seren's relationship, I predict, is going to grow. We're going to see, maybe David has a love interest because he mentioned his girl at the end, so see some of that.
Okay, how about you, Josh?
Oh, well, my prediction is that something is going to transpire between Seren and his mother that's going to cause David or DJ to kind of show up and try to see if he can help diffuse it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Ray was kind of sizing David up.
Oh, definitely.
And I think we may see him try to make a pass at David. And that's going to cause an issue. One of the things I also want to talk about is that Dr. Woodstrap didn't really, when David made this beautiful presentation, she didn't really have a reaction. And we were talking about why. Lucien, you tell us why. But I think it's because, you know how black folk, they give you tough love. They're not going to like praise you too much because they don't want you to be soft. So she was just like, okay, you all right. It's like, what were your...
Yeah, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of that. It's a lot of that tough love. It's a lot of that, okay, I know what you want from me. She knows that he wants to ask about her stand.
Right.
But it has to be the right time, the right moment. And
Deserved.
she's not going to allow him to think that, oh, just because you did good on this presentation, here's your chance, here's your free ticket.
Right.
You have to earn it.
Another question that I have for you, having written, you wrote episode 2, 3, and number 10. What characters in the show are you similar to?
I would say mainly David and JG.
How?
Okay.
I was raised by a single mother as well. My dad is in my life, but I was predominantly raised by my mom. And then I am the youngest. So
you're the baby.
I am the one that was always bouncing off the wall.
So you're going to get everybody in trouble.
My sister was the one that always had to do things. My mom was like, do it without complaining.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of that in episode 2. And then also I was David as well because I went to these gifted programs.
Yeah, same.
I was in magnet programs throughout my life, and these teachers, they would constantly tell me they saw something in me.
Yeah.
And that's what pushed me. And I went the education route, which got me here today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a lot of both of those characters in ways.
Another thing I wanted to ask you is, I think it was episode 1, we saw like a woman dressed in white, like a priestess. Can you kind of explain that character to us? Because that was Gloria. That was Gloria?
Right,
That was Gloria.
right.
That was
She was
Gloria
doing the ritual with David. Yeah.
Wait a
Right,
minute
yeah.
now. See, I thought it was just like, because I know you use like magical realism, right? So I thought it was like a Yoruba priestess or like
it's a representation.
Okay.
But it's Gloria and David. And
Okay,
that's,
so Gloria
with
know about the saints. So she know about the Bible, but she know about the saints. Because the reason I bring that up is for some people who may not understand. Like Florida has a lot of churches, a lot of traditionally
Pious.
Christian people, but then you have so many Caribbean people who have, in addition to believing in Christianity, they practice some of their traditional beliefs and faiths, which includes some praising some of the saints. So one of which is like Oshun, and if you've heard those types of words. So okay.
And I want to say something to you guys. I'm gonna drop a nugget for everybody out there.
Give us
wait
the
a
nuggets.
minute.
Give us all the nuggets.
All right. Pay attention to the biblical references in the show.
Okay.
Pay attention to the biblical references in the show.
Okay.
The names, everything. Because I guarantee you, I guarantee you, if you go back, even if you watch episode 2 and you pay attention to what David is going through, and you look at the 12 stations of the cross.
Well, the name Darius spoke out.
So pay attention to these things, because that was one of the things where when I first looked at the pilot script, and I'm looking at the pilot script with my writing partner Richard Burt Wilson. We're going through and we're finding things out just by names alone of some of these characters that relate to the story. So I'm gonna tell you
that means you're just gonna have to come back and give us some more, because we just didn't have enough time tonight.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. What's next for you?
Well, I mean, hopefully, we'll be back for another season.
Okay, that would be great.
But other than that,
For sure.
Yes.
other than that, I'm working on a few things that you guys will hear about. I'm not ready to reveal them yet.
Okay,
Yes.
we
But
got
just
it.
know.
Okay.
Well, in the
Just
meantime,
know.
also, you can definitely, I love that short drunk texting that you
yeah.
did. Ladies, if you want a thirst trap short film, look up drunk texting, okay? Tell the people where they can find that short and where they can find you.
Well, you can find me at Lucien Christian, at LucienChristian, and you can also follow me at 89 Writers, the number 89 in Writers. And so
Thank you. Zakia, where can they find you?
Well, hello guys. You can find me at Zakia W_. You can also find me on Black Love on Sundays and Bring the Funny on Tuesdays.
All right, I am Joshua Wright, and you can find me all social media Cleverly Clad, and I'm also doing my last show for Another Life tomorrow night at 7 p.m.
And you can find me at Say Hi Sahai. I'm also doing the season finale of the Younger After Show next Wednesday as well, right before this one at 9 p.m. Thank you guys for watching. Please come back for episode 4 next week. Lucien, you have to come back and give us more details.
I got you guys.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.